All right, can I dive in?
Yes.
Is everybody ready to geek out in organization? Okay, so I'll need to actually share my screen. So with everybody, I've kept everything pretty clean, I think. So you'll get to see behind the scenes. All right. So we're going to start in on sync on autopilot. So today I'm going to teach you guys how to automate and organize your music pitching. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to craft a tailored system for you. And we're going to embrace the rule of 3+ archive. We'll talk about that. It's my favorite thing. I'm going to introduce you to the tools of the trade that I use. You can adapt to whatever you want to use. We'll talk about that. And then I'm literally going to walk you through my system so you can kind of see how I do the day-to-day and make sure it's as quick as possible. And then at the very end, as we were talking about, I'll do a little Q&A so we can kind of dive a little deeper into some of these things. So let's get started. Also, this is my face again. So excited that I can put it somewhere. We pay a lot of money for promo. Uh, my name's Lauren Light. As I said, touring artist for years. I moved over to Sync and I kind of haven't stopped since then. Sync is an amazing world. You kind of have the opportunity to do everything and anything. I have music featured on Xbox Volvo, Netflix, whatever. I'm on some places. It's nice. I also own I co-own a company called 206 Music. We're awesome. We're a boutique agency that we pitch a lot to, like fashion ads, promos, trailers, and a little bit of that. The thing today that we're bringing forth is I'm an organizational junkie. So if I see a problem where it's not streamlined, I try to jump in and figure out the best way possible because, as I said earlier, I like to do everything. And if it's unorganized and I can't do it fastly, I can't do everything. And I like to do everything. So I hope this is more like you guys too. If you're doing sync, you want to do everything. And then also just a nice little fact, I'm a little coffee addict. So if I'm ever in your town and you know a good coffee place, hit me up and let me know. Anyway, so the problem I'm seeing with a lot of different artist producers that are in sync, you guys are producing music regularly, but with every track, the admin task like pitching, registration, metadata starts to overshadow the joy of making the music itself. So I want to change that. A lot of times I've seen a lot of artists that and producers are just overwhelmed by that part. We create music. We love doing that part and we'll do it over and over and over and over and over again. But if we are not actively pitching these songs, we're not actively making sure that we're getting paid for these songs on the back end. Like it's not going to help us at all for the fact that we're just making music and then we'll have to get a day job. And that's not what we want. So I want to actively get this where this is almost second nature. You can really focus on music that you like to create. So as I said, today I'll introduce you to some concepts designed to save time, reduce that stress. And my aim is to help you manage tasks efficiently so you can concentrate on what you love most, which is making music. So we just need to set up some stuff that is on autopilot. So whenever we're organizing and keeping all this stuff together, like we don't have to think about it. It's just a second nature. Okay. So the thing I was talking about, and this is going to be the overarching of everything, is going to be the rule of 3. So like I was talking about earlier, I was touring full time. I had an agency that I was owning. Everything was just so cram packed. When I looked at my organizational system, I almost became overwhelmed because I was trying so hard to get everything in its folders, get everything in its spots. And what I didn't realize was it'd be a lot easier to make things simpler. So this is where the rule of 3 comes in. I'm going to little notes up here. So what is the rule of 3? For everything that you're organizing, whether that be your database for organizing your songs, whether that be disco, whether that be anything, you only can stick to 3 main categories. Whether that folder, labels, any other form of classification, you have to keep it to 3 primary areas. And within those areas, you can multiply those subtasks or items, but the main structure needs to stay 3 and uncomplicated. I just found when you do more than that, it actually just makes it where you don't do it. If you do anything that's more than 3, you'll get overwhelmed and just will no longer organize it anymore. And again, we got to set something up on autopilot, so we're not worried about that. As I said, exceeding these limits can muddy the system, making it less intuitive, and it's just so much harder to use. The reason why I picked 3, so when I was actually in school for business, music business, a lot of the business structures that they would use. So like, for example, when you go to a restaurant, you always see everything's laid out in threes. They got appetizers, course, dessert. Everything is very simple. Whenever you go to a menu and you look at it and everything's just scroll, 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 it's almost too much. So 3 is a good number. And in business, they actually do that as far as like websites. When you're doing websites, you have to have 3 main sections of your website. With more than that, people get overwhelmed and leave your page. So I thought, if that works for business structures, and this is tried and true, why can't this work for organization? Okay. So what you're asking, what about stuff that I don't use all the time? This is what I called archives. So this is your full 4th folder, and this is the catch-all position outside the 3 main categories. If you haven't used this thing on a daily basis, this kind of goes in there. It's also great for like initial cleanups, one-time tasks like pitches, which, to preserve that information, but you can get to it anytime. So I like to say, whenever I'm doing anything, I make 3 main categories and then archive. That just is anything and everything goes into that folder. If we're not using it, I can easily search it anytime, because the 3 folders that you want to use is something you use daily. Just an example of mine is, if I'm remember off the top of my head, it's Sync 206, and it is also Artist Band. So I kind of keep those 3, and then I have subcategories in each one of those. Okay. The main thing is we just need to keep this system simple and efficient. And as we move through today, I'm going to show you, as we walk through everything, that rule of 3, and I'll show you everywhere it's at so we can kind of understand what that means. So every time you're now setting up your new systems for anything, just kind of keep it to the rule of 3. Again, if you have 4 or 5, that's fine. It's just making kind of keeping our focus, getting into 3, making some new things that we can stick to and not move away from. Because we want you guys to have a good, successful career and be able to do more, because you're not worried about all this other stuff. So yeah. Post homework for this. I love that I'm already coming with homework. So what I want you guys to do after this class, and just think about this, is to think about a brain dump. Think about everything on a daily basis that you have to do. And I just want you to get a piece of paper and just write them all down. Write them all down. And start looking at them. Don't organize them. Just brain dump. Just write them down. Start seeing if there's pattern. Honestly and truly, most of you guys that are on this call, it's going to be for sync. So we're going to think, okay, within sync, what do I need to do right now? Sync, I need to do the song itself, like actually the creation of the song. I need to register, do blah, 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 all that stuff. I need to also pitch to people. Just write that all down. Don't even think about it. Write it down. You'll start seeing that they all can be in 3 categories. What I actually like to do, which is why the picture of the Post-it notes are there, after I write that down, I kind of put them into one section and start organizing them together so I can see what those main 3 arches are. This is the only reason we're doing this, is so when you set your systems up, after we set it up one time, this is going to be how it goes from now on. When you create new folders, you go to that main folder and then put everything underneath that goes there. So you're just mainly finding with this homework your main 3 things that you have to go over. Again, like we said earlier, producers probably going to have a little different. We're all in sync. So producers might have their production, their workflow. They might have, they might not pitch. We just got to figure out those 3. So that's your post homework. All right. Probably our favorite thing now is I'm actually going to start diving into what we're doing. We've talked a lot. So for me personally, I've already done some of this research as far as the tools that I like to personally use. I really like Google, Airtable, and Disco. Those are, after I've tried everything, these are the ones that stuck. I didn't change anything, and they're just awesome. And I'll tell you why. So Google, for the most part, I love Google for the fact that probably a lot of you guys are Gmail users. Our company uses Gmail. I use Gmail, and I love that Google Drive also has a lot of different tools within it. So I use Google Docs a lot whenever I'm co-writing. So I already know that's going to be one thing that I use, and it's easy just to seamlessly search through Google Drive. It's nice. And then also you can do that real-time collaboration, and I can save it in one place. So in this section, I'm actually going to show you in a second. We'll get to that. I got ahead of the game. Second is Airtable. And Airtable, if you guys don't know what this is, a lot of you probably have used Excel or know what Excel is. Airtable is just spreadsheets on steroids. I love it for the fact that right now it has automations. It has flexible views, which means you can share views from like co-writers and different things. So you can only show different things to different people. And also it connects the records together. So like, for instance, if you ever submitted to 206, we actually have where you can put your writers in once and it auto connects every time that you type that person's name in. It will put their IPI number, their BMI, everything pops up and shows up. So I really like that functionality where it connects. And right now I got the alert this morning that they're incorporating AI. So a lot of this stuff you can even streamline further. So Airtable is free up into 1,000 records. And I think it's $20 a month then. So I'm just being upfront with that. But Airtable is my favorite. Again, if you want to use any other tools, you can use Excel, you can use anything else. Anything that I'm going to teach through this walkthrough will work with those as well. But if you want it to speed up, like where you're doing a song, which I'm going to walk through a song in 5 seconds, you'll see how much faster it is with Airtable versus the other ones. So that's just my pick. I love Airtable. And then third, Disco. And why? Honestly, it's the industry standard. Right now, if you hear anyone in sync, Disco's it. There are a couple other ones that kind of, roam around a little bit, but realistically, Disco's it. Also, I love with Disco, we're going to talk about with the rule of 3 in there. It works perfectly within the folder system because they have channels, folders, and subfolders. So I can easily keep everything simple. It's no nonsense. Whenever I'm doing a playlist, a song, I can find things super fast. And also with being on the sync side as pitching through 206, I've kind of got that streamlined down because we have to find songs out of 4,000 songs in our catalog very fast and within 30 minutes. So I feel like Disco is one of the best workhorses for that. Drag and drop, playlist, and everything stays there. You don't have to keep continually doing the same thing. So these are my 3 tools of the trade, but really you just need something that is holding forms, holding your data, which is Google for me, Airtable, which is like the Excel spot where you keep all the different songs that we're keeping, and then Disco, the actual song placement and the song storage system. All right. So let's do my favorite part. We're going to actually just show you a song, and I'm going to actually go through Airtable with you, or Google Airtable and Disco with a song that I wrote, just so it can be simple. Let's pull up. Can everybody see it okay? Perfect. So we're going to actually just go through everything, and I can't see very well. So we're going to make it a little smaller for me so I can see. All right. So first, we're going to just talk about Google, which is the easiest one. This is a filing system you can do if you'd rather have Dropbox, anything like that. The reason why later, I actually like to keep these in Disco, which is the spreadsheet, or Airtable, which is the spreadsheet. So I like to have an interactive link that, for instance, if an agency writes me and is like, hey, I really need the lyrics, can you send it over? I can just literally copy and paste this link and send it to them. It's just easy to search anything in the air, which is going to be the song we're talking about. I have lyrics right here. Boom, done. In this folder, I personally like to keep my cover art, lyrics, and split sheets. Again, in your brain dump, you can do more than this. As you can see, my overarching, I have the 4 different folder types, and sync is one of them. So this is, I can put as many folders as I want in here. But this is all I put in here because everything that I need to keep track of, I actually keep in my spreadsheet. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is mainly this folder, especially since I do use Gmail a lot, or my email server is Gmail. It's just easier to attach files that are actually from the same place. So Google. So we talked about that. Okay. Also, we talked about earlier, the reason I really love Google Docs is because it has Google Docs. So this is what I use a lot of times whenever I am working in co-writes. I bet you guys do as well. You can literally just share a copy with your co-writer right in the session. But the thing I like about this is I don't have to do any back work later. When I'm prepping the file, I can just open this link, copy and paste everything, put it into work. Also, I can literally send this to anyone via that link. And you guys already know, I'm sure, Google Docs, Google Drive. We're just kind of going over this again for anyone that doesn't. But yeah, it's one of the best things ever. If you don't have it, I'd do it. A lot of times people come to sessions with like not Google Notes, like notes and whatever. It's just a lot harder to collab, and it's so much easier, especially which we saw people from all over the world. It's so much easier to be on a call as you can see through, I actually asked Ricardo Barletta's permission to show this one. He always sends me the song so I can play it on my end when we're co-writing, and then we can write via Italy and North Carolina. So you can see it at the same time. It's just great. And it will go into your system. So that was a quick dive into Google. Let's do the longer deep dive into Airtable. So this is Airtable. If you guys have never seen Airtable, again, they don't sponsor me, but they should. I love this. So what we do in my Airtable is this. Again, you can adapt this to Excel, but you'll see some limitations that Airtable actually takes over. So I'm now just going to go straight through a song. So let's just say that I was in that session with Ricardo. We top line this song for In the Air. So I've actually created a system that goes over the process. So when I was doing that brain dump originally, I was like, okay, when I'm writing a song, the steps that I have to go through to get from the song to actually pitching it to different sync agencies are the working production. So that working production is just the production itself, like creating the song if you're the producer, writing that song, tracking vocals, editing, waiting for the mix if you're the artist, revisions if the producer comes back and's like, hey, you messed this up, you cut this line off too short, oh, can we change this line? And then to finished. So that's the first stage. The second stage is going to be full catalog, which is just housing all those. We're going to go over this in a second. I'm just doing a little quick overview. And then the third is pitching it to these actual catalogs. Okay, so let's go back to the song. So we're going to go to the first stage. We've written the song, love it. We've written the lyrics. I got it right here. Okay, so actually let's go ahead and I'm going to copy this link because we're done with it. And this is why I like using Google Drive. So when I get the song, I'm going to just open this up. In the Air. I just finished it. So all I got to do right now is I need to track the song. Great. I finished it today. And I took everyone's name out so no one would be seen. Producer 1, put the Google Drive to what I did. And then notes, I just like to keep notes of needs to sound like Adele. I don't know. Whatever you're talking, if you have reference tracks that you're kind of trying to feed through just for that. Okay. So let's actually show you where all these went. So if you actually break these down, I have Airtable where it sorts them out by the stages. So a lot of times we're working on songs. We are working on more than one at a time. And that's where that overwhelm kind of comes from, is your plate gets full and you're like, well, which one was I tracking? Which one was I waiting on the mix for? This kind of seamlessly puts it on autopilot. And this is kind of where I was going with that. So by setting up this system this way to actually structure that, I actually have where I know, all right, right now in production, one of the producers is working on song number 1, tracking vocals. I have 2 songs on my plate. I can get to those at any time, and then waiting on mix. So let's just fast forward this a little bit because we're just doing a little show through. I'll actually just finish the track. So this is where I like Airtable better than Excel, because we can create automations. So as soon as I push finish, you think nothing happened. But what actually happened was I'm going to the next stage of my system, which is going to registration. So if you see this full catalog right here, you can see it's already auto-populating. So it didn't because I didn't turn automations on. So let's turn that on real quick. We'll come back to this one. Okay, let's go back. Tracking vocals. Before we show that automation, I'm actually going to walk into this tab. So one reason I also like Airtable as well, one thing that we need to keep track of is all of our writers' info. So this is something that is kind of like archives. We need them when we need them, but we don't use them on a daily basis. And this is kind of where the archive system comes up. It's a place where I can hold things that I need but don't need. So you can see in this system, actually, after the brain dump, have everything where I have my name, PRO info, IPI number, publishing, everything, etc. And also I like to have a space for W-9s for the fact that if you guys are in sync too long, you have to pay these people out. And a lot of times it's nice to have that in a place where when taxes are needed, you can easily grab it. So this being said, we were talking about earlier in co-writes, things I like to make a little bit more seamless. So within Airtable, you actually can create what is called a writer's form. So all this information that I need, I could ask them and say, hey, can you give me your information, your writer API, blah, 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 blah. Or I could set that up and create a form. So I can open this form, and I'll just do one with you, where I can have them send this to their mobile device, or if we're in person, their desktop, and they're like, oh, I'll just fill this in right now. So let's just actually songwriter 2. Let's make them PRS. I don't know their number, so it's going to be 9. I'm just putting this in fast. Let's do publishing. If I spell right, publishing name 2. That's going to be with PRS as well. This information. And then let's just say songwriter2@gmail.com. Why not? And when they hit submit, this is where the smart part of Airtable comes in. You'll see on the back end, that form that you had, that Excel sheet, it already populated their information. So this is kind of like a space where I just leave everyone's information. As I mentioned earlier, when they fill this in, this actually auto-populates into the next tab. Okay, so let's go back now that that automation has been turned on. Let's pretend like we didn't finish the track. Okay, so in the air again, we worked on it. Awesome, great. I sent it to mixing. It was waiting on mixing. I just got the track back. Oh, it sounds so good. So I think I'm happy with it. And I click finished. All right, so the magic of this one is creating those automations. And like I said, I'm just doing a brief overview in this. If you ever want to, we can talk more about that. We're going to do the live thing that you guys are going to use in Disco. Anyway, so this one we push finish. It automatically puts it into the next system, which is our registration stage. So in full catalog is what I like to do, is just prepping those songs. It's the prep stage. So in prep, we need to prep the writer's info. We need to prep all the main things that's a part of the song, the metadata. So what we do then is here, I'll space bar, and we're going to just prep it as if it was me. Okay, and we'll do this one a little fast, prep writer. The key, we're going to do E flat major, because that sounds nice. And then 97. So you're just literally plugging and playing. So the reason you set these up is you make it simple. Like you're just going through a checklist and having it do it for you. And this is what I'm talking about with creating systems that you don't have to think, you just kind of do. So keywords, what I like to do, I actually created a list. This is the list from Disco, what they suggest. I copy these. So every time I'm doing metadata, and as you can see, it's auto-populating it up above. I'll just go through and listen to the song and go, okay, this song's not an alt pop song. It's not ambient, etc., and get the metadata going together. Or if you already know it, you can just type in like pop song, synth popping. That's funny. Pop, synth. Just put in your metadata if you want to do it that way and just kind of do it. The moods and etc. Love song, etc. But I like doing it the other way, just for the fact this is things that people already use in Disco for tagging, and it's a lot easier. I don't forget things, and the more metadata that you have, the easier it is for someone like me on the other side to just go into the search bar and type one of those words, because we kind of know those words from Disco, and hopefully your song pops up. Also, that being said, please, everyone, type as much metadata that makes sense as possible. Okay. Finish date. This is the magic as well. So this is what I was talking about on the system that you see over here. So what we did earlier in writer info, this information, it syncs to this whole database. So when I'm in this one, I can just click writer 1, Lauren Light, and then I just need to do the percentages. So this was the thing when I was doing the brain dump. I needed the writers, I needed the publishing, I needed the masters. And we're going to do songwriter number 2 that we put in. Amazing. They did 50% as well, because we're making this easy, even splits for everybody, masters. I have a place for about 6. I think more than that's too many. And then we're going to put it in a category. So a lot of you guys will be putting things through non-exclusive versus exclusive. Try to keep it pretty simple. So I'll put non-exclusive. If it was someone exclusive, you could just click an agent. And you see it already auto-populated that lyric that I put in, because everything's just continuously going through this Excel sheet. Split sheets, you can attach them, but I personally like to as we can see in Google Docs, just go in and actually just grab one. So in the air and just grab it so we can actually have it. And then if anyone needs it, like we need them all the time, we can just put those in there. So let's go back. Here we go. All right. So we'll pretend there's something there. I love that I just typed that. But we're trying to do it pretty fast because our alarm didn't go off, did it? Huh. Anyway, I digress. So let's go back. So we have the stages for prepping writers, registering, and then catalog. So the cool thing about this is as soon as I do this, I'll click here to register. It's going to go into the next system. Perfect. So you see now I have a checklist of that brain dump that I was talking about. And I can go through literally. We don't want to pitch it yet because it's not completely registered. I can do registration sent. So I know, okay, cool. I have a checklist to send it to BMI, which is mine. I've sent it as soon as that number comes back, because I don't know if all y'all's do this, but mine actually takes about a week for it to actually process. I can then put the BMI number in here, whatever that is, and then put the cover doc link in there, which I had mentioned was in Google Doc. Also, another reason that I use Google Drive is because when you're working in Excel spaces, even with Excel, it bogs down the info. So when you're trying to search and do whatever, when there's a lot more attachments, it takes longer for things to work fast. And I like for things to work fast and for me to be able to get to things easily. Okay, so that's the case. I've decided, great, it's been sent. This song is ready to be pitched and I'm finished with it. So as you can kind of see with this system that I have, when I look into the categories, I can see all the songs that I have. And I can also see, okay, these are the songs I have in non-exclusive. These are songs I have exclusively. I leave exclusive in this spot for the fact that a lot of times if you're working with exclusive companies, a lot of times they'll do the registration. They just need to know who was a part of the song. And then after that, they're pitching it, they're taking care of it. That's not really anything that you're doing. So I left them in this category. I also left a space for things such as Sound Exchange, which you guys should look into if you're releasing songs, as well as MLC. And this just automatically populates if I see there's a release date for like Sound Exchange, then I know I need to actually put that into Sound Exchange so I can collect those royalties. So this is, again, just showing with that brain dump. Again, we're showing the overarching of brain dumping and just kind of getting it on autopilot. Okay. So as I showed you earlier, I clicked pitch, which means it went into its own folder. So this is actually one of my favorite things. So whenever, especially being on the agency side, a lot of people will pitch to us. They can't remember what they've pitched to us. And they'll send us the same song over and over and over again, which is fine the first time. But the second time, especially with 3 other owners, someone may have put it in 2 days before, and then I put that same song in. We have 3 of your songs. It's messy. And so we like to keep everything as clean as possible. So that's something that you can actually do. And it's very helpful to licensing companies. And I know on the other side, when I know someone has it all together, again, if they send me a song and they're like, it's already in your catalog, completely fine. But it's just something that's kind of nice to keep on your side. It's keeping it up. But also, you don't want to waste your time each time figuring out, have I sent this song? Have I not sent this song when you're doing your little monthly mail outs? So I like to have this section that kind of keeps track of everything. So we're going to go back to song, which is in the air. So as you can see, I just made some sync agencies up. I can see that I haven't pitched them to any of these places. If it's empty, that means it's a blank slate. These other ones, I have the 3 categories again, so everything's not overwhelming. Sent, accepted, denied. Again, keeping everything simple in each part. So this, let's just say, all right, cool. It's the first of the month. I want to pitch everything out. What's a little easier, I've actually set up with the sync agents, is where I can see just single views. So sync agent 1, I can see in the air, obviously hasn't been pitched anywhere. I can see that song number 3 was sent, but I haven't heard back from them. And I can see song number 4, they accepted it. So I can know, I can go into disco and just prep in the air and send it. So then I'm not looking through disco and going, okay, what did I send last time? What's in the playlist? Like, it's just compartmentalizing it and putting it into one spot. Okay. And that's simple as that. Again, some of these are a little bit more in depth, but we're getting to it. The main thing we're going to show you again disco. We're going to organize disco together. You will leave with disco. And then at the very end of this, I leave one thing, which is again, archives, and it's called Song Purgatory. And I like to call this the place that songs go to die. So a lot of times the reason our systems kind of get cluttered is it's just human nature. A lot of times we'll do co-writes and we'll do sessions. The biggest thing for me has been being in a session with two songwriters and there's no producer and the song kind of just lives there. Same thing with a producer. I find a lot of times producers have a song, the vocalist just never tracks it. So they're like, what do I do with this? So this is kind of a place to put all those songs where you have access to them. But you don't have to keep looking at them. They're not piling up in your workflow, which we had talked about earlier, which is this working production section. So I like to put things here. I leave like voice memos, you can see, you can attach and stuff like that. And if I ever want to come back, I can kind of see. So I like to leave this section. Again, you can do this all in Excel. Feel free to just copy those 3 sections. But I do love Airtable. It's a little learning curve, but you get to do all this stuff. And if you just saw, I just prepped that song to pitch on this call, which if it wouldn't have been in 5 seconds, it probably would have taken me less than a minute to prep that whole entire song, which is where we want to be. Because again, we want to be making music. So setting the system up one time and then sticking with the system is great. Okay. And the last system that we use is disco. So this is the platform of choice. I love this one. What I tend to do is we're going to just do a little quick overview because I'm going to kind of walk through it a little bit more with you in a few minutes. I like to set up the system via channels. Again, the rule of 3. I have catalog, pitch log, and exclusive songs. And then admin is for everything else. Because everything, it's kind of nice within disco kind of does that form where it goes to catalog, or excuse me, category, folder, subcategory. So let's actually go back to our slides. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about disco a little bit more, way more in depth. So the reason why the system works is because you make it work. So whatever you're actually creating when you're brain dumping and getting your categories, the 3 systems, you actually have to use it. So the power is in you. That tools are powerful, but the true potential is unlocked with your consistent use. I find if you don't kind of find a system that works, that's simple for you, it just will not work. And consistency is a huge part of it. A system is only as good as its regular implementation. You have to stick to it. So whenever you finish a song, you got to put it in that form and go with it. Also, we mentioned earlier about establishing a routine. For me personally, it's a little bit easier to keep everything organized if I create a routine. So I like to do the first week of the month just because it's easy for me. You could do the last Friday of every month. I'm going to pitch to all my non-exclusive agencies. Just picking a day and knowing every day on the calendar, the last Friday of the month is going to be pitching. That kind of keeps a habit of continual. And that's just kind of what we're talking about. And just remember the commitment to the routine is what actually elevates those. Okay. I talked a little fast because I wanted to make sure we actually get one thing that you can take home today. So let's do some learning. So we're going to do some hands-on from disco. So you can follow along. If I go a little fast, feel free. The replay is going to be coming up, so you can just pause it at any point. But this is something, because I feel like most of you guys will at least have disco. I want you to take home this so you can at least search disco a lot better. So yeah, let's get back to disco. Okay. All right. So this today is what I want you to at least take home. The rest is a little bit of your homework, but we're going to get you a new system for disco. So as we talked about earlier, the rule of 3, I like to keep everything into 3. I think everybody here probably has their full catalog. They have what they've been pitching. They have exclusive songs. And then they probably have admin. So right now we're going to, whenever you get back, you're going to create 3 channels, which just means make this channel, do a catalog, type the next one, put pitch log, exclusive songs, and admin. That's all you need to do. Today, we're going to show you catalog. So in catalog, again, keeping it simple, there's 3 to 4 categories that you can do. Cover songs, holiday songs, your catalog. And because I have a lot of songs and because I'm an artist, I actually separated it to other artists that I write with, just so I can easily access them. So so I don't show other artists and show their information, let's just go into Lauren catalog. After you create those folders, you're going to then create a subfolder with all the artist name. So I'm weird. I have 15 monikers. These are all my monikers that I have. So I actually keep every song in each playlist and they go into this folder. So like for instance, with In the Air, that's a Lauren Light song. I would keep this in the Lauren Light folder. So you see it right here, okay? But we don't want to go through this each time. So the reason why we've set this up this way is because when we click save up here, watch, it already finds the folder and you can save it directly into there after you've prepped your song. So that's what we like. You set it up one time, forget it. You know what I mean? So let's actually go and just prep this song together. So I've already prepped half the stuff in the air. So earlier, when I was doing an Airtable, you could see in the air. One thing I like to do, ooh, I did not show you guys this. I'm going to show you five seconds real fast. Let me show you in the prep stage. One thing we did not talk about. Let's find it. All right, let's put it in the category again. My brain's so excited. There we go. So in prep stage, I didn't mention earlier, another reason I love Airtable, you can create what's called extensions. So our company requires where you actually create split sheets. I actually have, after you put the input in, you can just create where it fills out a form, and it literally filled out their metadata as I did it. So you just saw me fill out these forms in real time and they just have to sign it. So that's one thing. I'm selling Airtable and they don't sponsor me. Anyway, continuing back to this go. So when we were talking about this, we actually already created in Airtable the formula. So everything we had put in here was the keywords, the metadata, etc. All I got to do then is copy this, and then I put it straight into Disco. I've already done this because I already done the keywords. So the reason I have it this way, and I have a format of formula coding that's a little bit more advanced, you can just copy and paste each one, but at least you have a place to copy and paste from. But here I do the writer info, and it goes all the way to here. That gives the writer and pub information and master information. Do it like this, delete it. Everybody can call me now. They know my number. You can put this in the group section. Also, this format is a lot of the standards. We got this off of the Guild of Supervision Lauren Light. And then I have my metadata where I actually have the genre first. So every time I'm doing keywords, I do that first, the genre. So look, I can just literally pull it in right here. BPM, I typed that in earlier. Why did I type that in? Because I need it. 97. And then I like to put stems upon request. But did you see how fast that was that I just did that? Okay, I'm saving it right now. I feel like saving it took longer than actually doing the track. So it was not letting me save. Okay, and then like I told you earlier, the cool thing about this system, where if we do catalog, your folder, and then the subfolder, is that when you're just doing a playlist, after you do that, you can actually just save and then type in Lauren Light, save it, boom. And then that song is already in your folder. So I have to do nothing, but it's already organized for me. So that's one reason we like that rule of 3. So then you can come here and I can see every song that I've ever written. It's already there. It has the main, the instrumental, and the stems. So that's a new thing that I would like for you guys to do as homework. If you like that system, feel free to start doing that. I know, I wish I had more time, but I think we're about to run out of time. So let's actually move to the next part. All right, Q&As, you guys. I went over a lot of stuff really fast. So feel free to ask anything. And I know you said you were doing questions, so I am happy to answer any of those as well.
Yes, thank you. So I did keep track of some of the questions that were coming in.
Yeah.
So start by order. This was earlier in the workshop from Candina Ann. She just shared her recent struggle this morning was downloading a demo, and takes coming in and saving as link in my Google Docs right under the song title. My Mac will not allow me to share, copy, or insert into the drive. What could I be doing wrong?
Okay, can you read that again? I kind of missed some of that.
Yeah, actually, I think Candina, if you're in here, I'm gonna ask you to unmute just so it's easier to explain your issue as well. I'm trying to find you here.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Hi, how are you?
Go for it.
Hey, how are you?
I'm a lot better now that I'm in this class.
Hey, and I mean, we didn't go into a deep dive. This is just mainly figuring out how to start.
That's
So,
okay. It's great information, golden nuggets. So thank you.
Yeah.
So the past 2 days, my struggle has been, I don't know if it's my Mac because I didn't have this issue a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
but trying to all these demos are coming into me. I'm a project coordinator and new music producer.
Mhm.
And I'm making my team's making great progress, but I'm getting held up on my end because when I try to download these files, they're going into the downloading folder, and then I'm trying to sort them and organize them into places.
Mhm.
And my main thing is the Google Drive or the Google Doc.
Yeah.
And so I like to take the song and I put it in right above the lyrics, and then
Mhm.
I title the link to match the title of the song. So it's
Mhm.
very clear and easy to do. And then if my team members need to hear it, they've got access to it. But for some reason, it's not doing that.
Okay.
It won't even let me. It's like I have no editing access to my Google Doc for some reason to put the links only. The lyrics and everything else is fine, but the links I don't.
So is your full system through Google Docs or Google Drive?
What do you mean full system? I'm sorry.
You said you use everything through Google,
Yes,
correct?
pretty much. Yes, that's my main squeeze right there.
Yeah, and the problem is right now is that you can't open them.
I can open them. I can open the docs. I can't place any music links, any kind of vocal demos or things that are coming from the composers or musicians to put in where the lyrics are in the doc.
Yeah, that should be something you should be able to do easily. That actually might be a Google issue itself.
Okay.
So I would definitely kind of get into contacting Google and seeing if that's something that is an issue there. Because like you saw on my Google Doc, I put songs for sessions all the time.
Yeah.
You copy and paste.
Yeah.
So I would definitely just contact Google.
Okay.
Also, if I were you, like even if you are using Google, I would put some of those starting maybe in Excel formats, just for the fact if you have to open each individual one, it's not very easy to see them all. So if you could have them sectioned off where it was submissions, like a tab, then like sorted through and then approved or denied or whatever you do, whatever your system is, just for the fact that might kind of keep them all condensed in one place. And also you're not opening so many things all at once. And then having that link to that individual Google Doc in that cell might
Okay.
be a little easier too. So, but yeah, I think that one issue is probably with Google, and I would contact them because you should be able to just put a link in there easily.
Yeah, it's been so frustrating because it should be just easy, seamless, and go. And it's been a 3-day struggle.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's holding me up. So I'm getting frustrated.
Yeah, like I said, I would contact them, but Google's a little, that's one reason, like I said, I like Airtable. It's just fast, but maybe look into doing Excel and changing a system over a little bit, because that's bogging down a lot of memory. Someone actually wrote that in, which is one of the things I was talking about. So if you can keep it into one system that loads fast and it's more, you can see the links to everything, it might condense the system a little better and load properly. So
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And then just a second question from Christopher Rain. Do you recommend pitching a second time if we don't hear anything back after the first pitch?
yes. And so that's why I was saying to put sent. So a lot of times, and I know on our end as well, we get 100 emails a day and it gets lost. So the cool thing is when you're sending out pitches, when you have like sent, you can say, okay, obviously they didn't open it. So then you can resend again. I would resend. I wouldn't resend within like a 2-week time. I would do it within a month. Just for the fact, again, I know on my side, it can get busy in a month when we're working on multiple projects. We have a folder to the side and we look at it once a month. So maybe it's they haven't got to it yet. So wait a month. If they haven't, send it again. We're completely fine. I've placed music, or not placed music. I've signed music that someone sent to me. Somehow it got lost. And then they sent it again. I was like, oh, this is great. And took it that time. So yeah, definitely repitch. Just don't overdo it in a time frame.
Perfect. And then another question from Lee Mann regarding the production section. Just if you don't mind showing the production section.
Yeah, let's go to it. All right. Yes. What you got? Or if they're here, they can hop on.
Yeah. Let me ask to unmute. There you go.
I like that I'm reading questions at the same time. While you're finding him, someone asked how far into the sync career did I start implementing the system? As soon as I had 30 songs, because it started to get overwhelming. And now we're up to 700 some songs, just myself. So yeah, it was too much. So honestly, you can get started anytime, but the earlier, the better. And then you just got to reformat everything again.
Lee Man, I believe I found you. I'm just gonna ask you to unmute one last time. Go for it.
Thanks. So
Oh, Rebecca, go for
I was just trying to get your attention.
it. No, okay. I don't believe. I think they unmuted, but it's just.
it's all good. If you want to try to figure out how to mute, and we'll go to another question, and then.
Yeah, we can. I mean, again, the replay will be available. If there's anything else you want to go back to, we can.
And I think you did mention within your community that if you have some questions, I'll answer tomorrow via.
Yes, and then that's also a good thing. Lauren will be doing the Ask Me Anything on our private Facebook Creator Circle page, which I'll send the link to right now in case you haven't joined already, but she'll be doing that for the next 24 hours and then or 48 hours, and then you have a chance if you didn't get your question answered today. Patrick, I see your hand is raised, so I'm just gonna unmute you so you could go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, I can hear you.
Your volume, Patrick.
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
There we go. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Lauren, thank you so much for today. It's been super helpful, first of all. Quick question about, I noticed how you had a bunch of monikers. As an artist, that's a great idea for different genres. I'm a producer, and I do produce a bunch of different genres. I'm wondering if it's valuable for me to create different monikers, or because right now I'm not attaching any moniker. I'm just like, it's the artist name goes on the artwork and the song and everything. Is it valuable, you think, in the sync world to have a moniker or multiple monikers as a producer?
Yes and no. So on the other side, whenever I'm actually getting a brief for a sync placement, or not sync, for a brief for a sync, we usually go to the artist specifically off top of mind. I'm like, okay, they'll have this kind of song. And I go there first before I even do a deep dive. So a lot of times that name is associated to a sound. So it's a lot easier for me. That's why the 15, they're grouped into a specific sound.
Right.
As far as like being a producer, there is one caveat that I would say for that when it comes to like production style music. For example, we actually have a project called Misfits, and it's all the miscellaneous songs that kind of don't make sense anywhere else. So like one-offs, make one moniker that's just like that. Like there's Marshmallow, there's whatever, like, one moniker that kind of goes into the one-offs that you will never ever do, and make monikers for projects that you are consistently doing the same sound and subcategorize those. So all mine like have specific sounds, and everything that's one off goes into this thing called Misfits. And I think that's hysterically funny. So anyway, that's what I would think.
Okay, awesome. And then just one other question: is 206 accepting submissions right now?
Yeah, actually, before I forget and everyone has to hop off, let me actually go to this last slide so everyone can see the resources while I'm talking. as well. So for everyone, we do have a Facebook community. It's free to be in there. We actually don't accept unsolicited materials because our inbox is just crazy, but we post briefs all the time and you can submit to those. If you go to this, it's free. Just hop on in, and anytime we have a brief, and then we put those people on our mailing list as soon as we're like, oh, these are really cool people. So we start giving them all the briefs. So this kind of gives the selective. Also, just while I'm here, I put the referral codes for Disco and Airtable if you want them. And also, someone did ask, if you don't want to do all this by yourself, I actually do have an Airtable template. You can feel free to look at that there. So hopefully that helps. And I literally go through hours, not hours, it's like an hour or two, and walk step by step holding your hand. So you can kind of look at that for later. Anyway, continue with questions. I just didn't want to forget to tell everybody, but I'd love everybody to join that community as far as on 206, because we love having new artists and finding new people. So yeah.
So Lauren, what I'm understanding is you would be like working as a consultant and be able to walk somebody through holding their hand if they want to.
Yes. So that template, I was getting asked all the time because I was teaching people kind of how to do it. And they're like, this is too much. Do you just have a template where I can do exactly what you do? And I'm like, yeah. So literally I just walk through and it's like, put this here. It's literally you push a button and you have it in your Airtable. So that's it. So, and then I walk you through how to use it. So it's hands-on. You can do it at your own pace. I literally did it one time and done because people kept asking. So if you want a deep dive of what I did today on Airtable, that's where that is. If you want to stay on Excel and everything else, awesome. But that one specifically.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So I think that we're at our 12 o'clock. Is there any last kind of wisdom that you want to give to us all? You gave us so much, by the way. I mean, I think everyone's going to want to replay this over and over again.
I feel a little bad that it's like I have to streamline through everything so fast, but I hope everyone's takeaway is just creating a system that's easy. If it's not easy, you're not going to do it. I promise you. And two, that works for you. So create something that you can consistently keep track of, because I know on the opposite side, the more organized someone is within like 206, when they come to the table, I want to work with them over and over again. I know every time I go to them, I can get everything easy, fast, efficiently. And so you want to be that person. So for your own sake, figure out something, even if it's not how I do it, figure out something that will help you take your time, take your everything back, and you can kind of create music instead. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like, I use Excel, but now I'm going to rethink that because of how everything's connected, and you just showed us like how magically that works. It's
yeah, well, within that too, the reason I also switched over to Airtable was, like you were saying, when I had to do the same writers over and over and over again, like I got tired of those extra steps, and then I wasn't able to do the vocals for that song. Or when I was doing 206 and we're going through 100 songs, I didn't have the time to do something that should have been on autopilot. So yeah, if there's any way, even with your systems, that you can start creating some copy paste of things that you do all the time, like it will eliminate some time where you can do even more.
Yeah, it seems like Airtable can work for businesses. So
oh yeah, we love ours. If you thought this system was robust, you should see 206. It's crazy. It's synced to a portal, and everybody.
Amazing. Well, congratulations on that. And thank you so much. This is amazing. Like I said, we're going to all replay this like on, with our coffee caffeined up and everything. And yeah, so Lauren Light, thank you, thank you, thank you. The world is a better place with you in it. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom, and we love you. And so I think, yeah, watch out for the replay, you guys. It should be up by the end of the week, maybe even sooner.
I also sent the link to the Creator Circle for you all to access the Ask Me Anything. It'll be open until Friday, so please join before then so you could get your questions answered. And thank you again, Lauren.
Yeah, and thanks so much for letting me geek out with you guys. I love organization, so almost as much as thanks. So
amazing. Can we put this resource page with Ask Me Anything, or would you be? Okay, cool. So yeah. Maybe you could share it with when we start our Ask Me Anything. You can in the comment section or something.
And I
Yeah,
didn't mention it, the group is called Sync Collective 206, as you see it there, and the templates at laurenlight.com/template, easy. Also, if you want to be friends with us, my Instagram's Lauren_Light. 206 is 206 Music. Come hang out with us on socials. We're friendly. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you that resource page too, so everyone can have that.
Yeah, you all three are very friendly.
We're super friendly. We're very weird, so enjoy the chaos that ensues of
Like
funniness.
we like weird. Weird is like what makes us musicians and creators, right?
Yeah, and I'm the tame one of the group. Everyone else is even cooler than me.
Can't
So
imagine. Well, you do seem, both. So yeah. Okay, so anyway, thank you again, Lauren Light, and
thanks,
thank
everybody.
you everyone for coming. And we'll
Yeah.
see you next Wednesday at our normal time, 11 o'clock. I also just really quick want to say if anyone has any great feedback or comments or anything that we can show to our community and also to our donors, feel free to email us at hello@pandionmusicfoundation.org. Also, we are doing our live wellness, which is live on Instagram and Facebook on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. I highly recommend it. We're having some really great people giving wellness and giving you the tools to walk through your creative role and through a creative life. So thank you. All right, we're going to
Everyone.